Hey guys, welcome back to BackPocketGameReviews, and today we're going to talk about our favorite topic, GameStop. So, let's start off with this. Guys, if we can get this video above 600 likes before 8 p.m. tonight, I'll do a double upload today. If not, that video will go up tomorrow. So, just fun little challenge. See if we can get this above 600 likes before 8 p.m. But also, we're going to start off here with a quick little story. And for those of you who don't know, I will probably be live streaming tonight on BPGR Live. Probably some games. I don't know which game yet, but if you want to check that out, the link to BPGR Live is in the description box below. So, a lot of stuff recently went on. I stopped in a GameStop today, though, because my son graduated from kindergarten. So I was like, all right, we're going to stop in and get him a Link Between Worlds. Almost no one still has a Link Between Worlds brand new in store, and I get it. That game sold like hotcakes. It did incredibly well. So we go into GameStop, who has the game for $40 used, and we're also getting a whole bunch of clearance items. And then I also had The Witcher 3 complete, which was on sale yesterday for $39.99. So he starts ringing me out, and I was like, oh, that's cool that it doesn't, he didn't have to split the transaction, so I got two clearance items because it was buy one, get one half off. The $14.99 took the $14.99 half off, and then the cheaper ones it took half off without having to shift everything on the way the computer did it. So I was like, that's kind of cool. And the guy goes, Joe, we're not here to rip you off. Bruh, you're selling me a used game for new retail price. If I was willing to wait for Amazon, I could get it new for that price. That's crazy. But I can buy the digital download for the same price as what you're selling me a used copy of this game. Then, The Witcher 3, when he scans it in, oh, well, it's $49.99. It was on sale yesterday for $39.99. You're not here to rip me off, and you can't price match it down, seeing as that Best Buy and Amazon have it at that price? No, thank you. I'll wait on that, and I'll get it elsewhere, which I told him. So, moving on to the actual point of this video. As we know, the Switch has been a massive success. It has been everything Nintendo could have hoped for, which it's a really cool concept. Brand new, it's a console and a handheld. It does very well at both. But with the sales and the way this thing has been selling, keep in mind we're like, I know the last number I saw was it was well past 2 million. So it's selling very quickly. They can't keep them on shelves. They're extremely hard to find right now. Which should be no surprise. It's a new Nintendo console. The only Nintendo console that didn't really do that was the Wii U. Now, GameStop had stated that this particular release, so the Switch release, gave them a 3.8% revenue increase. That's a pretty big increase when we're talking in terms of retail, seeing as that most companies are typically either down around this time of year or staying about the same. So a 3.8% increase before the end of the quarter, you would suspect should jump your stocks tremendously. But it didn't. And we're going to explain why. We're going to get into this. So for Best Buy even announced that the Switch had bumped up their earnings this year by 1 point. I don't remember what the decimal was for them. But now you have to keep in mind, Best Buy also has a lot higher dollar of sales than what a GameStop does. So their revenue will always be higher, meaning that it's going to be much harder for them to add that extra percentage. So it probably gave Best Buy a bigger bump in the grand scheme of things than it did GameStop. Now, as a lot of you know, GameStop got very pushy with the bundles, and GameStop even released a report saying that almost all of their Switches sold before ever hitting a store. So essentially, GameStop was going, here's the bundles, we're not even sending these to stores, which is kind of interesting, and the whole reason why they do that is because all of those items are profitable items. Console they don't really make anything on, but when they're bundling in games, and they're bundling in a case and a pro controller, all that stuff they're making money on, and those bundles weren't even at a discount Some of them were actually more expensive than buying the items individually, and that was to buy it directly through GameStop. So now, in a sense, that was a very smart move for GameStop to bump up their revenue, but also a very shady move for their overall customer base. Which a lot of you have already kind of gathered that GameStop doesn't care that much about their customers, which is pretty true. It's a pretty accurate statement. So, when you look at the Switch, though, when we take a step back and we actually look at the Nintendo Switch as a whole, you do have some really big games. You have The Legend of Zelda, you have Mario Kart 8, you have Bomberman, and all these different games like Lego City Undercover, but most of them aren't coming out as retail releases. Most of them are coming out digital only. So, as an investor, say I were to be investing in GameStop, yes, it is temporarily spoofing those numbers, which doesn't really give me a lot of faith, though, as an investor, to want to invest heavily in this console when its digital sales are doing much better than its actual physical sales. And so if you ever watch GameStop's stock, it typically tends to plateau around the release of a console that isn't going to cut out physical media. So a good example would be when they announced the Xbox One and the PS4, it went up. When Xbox announced their DRM, it went down. So it kind of follows this trend of every time digital starts to become more prevalent, GameStop's stock tends to go on a downward climb. Sort of like when Xbox announced the Game Pass, their stock dropped pretty tremendously. So GameStop's stock at its peak ever, highest it's ever been, was in the $60 range. The lowest it's ever been was in the $5 range, and that was well before they ever obtained EB Games, so we're not really going to talk much about that. After they obtained EB was when they started going into the $20 range. GameStop stock looks like a scary little roller coaster. And again, a lot of that comes down to a lot of your big games right now, so Minecraft for the Switch, Fast RMX, Snipper Clips, let's see what else is on there. I Am Setsuna, Has Been Heroes. All of those have been digital exclusive releases. There is no physical release for that. And I can go into GameStop and I can buy a digital code for those games, but let me give you an idea perspective-wise here. They make a couple cents off of me buying a digital download there. All you're doing is giving them more dollars in the store to try to make investors go, look, but this is how much money people are spending in the store. A lot of what's going on at GameStop is very hard to pin down because they're fighting a lot of different elements right now that are essentially rushing their obsolescence. Which, as much as I want to feel bad for them, they've kind of made their own bed and they've been lying in it. Now, the day that they start doing more pro-consumer things, I think that they will see a lot more of a turnaround, such as price matching and stuff along those lines. And I get it, a lot of people are going to go, oh, well, they don't make a lot more money on that. Right, but when you're saving me money, I'm buying other more profitable things in that store. That's the way you have to look at that. As a retailer, and someone who has worked retail for a very long time, sometimes you sell things at a loss to get customers into the store to buy other things. It's just that is how retail has transformed over the last several years. When it comes to a one-to-one, it's really hard to compete with Amazon outside of the fact of I can price match them and give it to you immediately rather than you having to wait. Now, once games all come to Prime Now, that might be a bigger difficulty for something like a GameStop. But with digital now being so prominent, and you see Best Buy, who did have this decent jump in revenue over the Switch, but you also got to keep in mind, Best Buy also has bigger profit margins on a lot of the other stuff they sell. Not that GameStop doesn't, because a lot of those collectibles that they sell, they have huge profit margins on. But unfortunately, their actual footsteps and traffic that come into their store have been dwindling at a very fast rate. The less customers that come in knowing, oh, well, I can't price match there, I'll just go to Best Buy, or hey, I'll just go to Walmart. that hurts them more in the long run than selling something to you as a customer at a loss. So I feel kind of bad because, like, when you talk about how revenue is up, again, that's normally something that makes people invest. Like, GameStop stock should jump in price. That hasn't that hasn't necessarily been the case. And again, a lot of that's because digital sales. Specifically, I mean, Minecraft's the best example. There is no digital release right now. And I mean, there's a lot of games on there like that. Like, the Switch has a pretty big library, but not if you go into GameStop. I mean, there's about 20 different Neo Geo remastered games on there. They've got a lot of stuff on there. It's just most of it's sold digitally. And especially in the case of like a handheld, I have kids. I can buy that digital. I don't have to worry about them changing the game card while I'm out somewhere and then the game card getting lost. And I guarantee you, all of you out there who don't have parents think that that's impossible, or don't have kids, don't have parents. Oh, that was a Portal 2 remark almost. Well, all of you out there who don't have kids, I can assure you that that is how kids operate. And I guarantee you, everyone who's watching this video and has kids is going, I know, the little shits lose everything. And unfortunately, that's how the world operates. A lot of my time as a parent is spent buying things they've either broke or lost. So that's just how it rolls. But unfortunately for GameStop, this should have been a joyous moment, and it wasn't. But we'll see how this all turns out for them. But guys, if you really enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, stick around. I'll have plenty more content coming for you soon, guys. So we'll see you around.